called The Healer, where he plays with Carlos Santana. But I'm going to play you something right here from Madman Blues. And this is John Lee Hooker's Madman Blues. Hey, this is Jon Phillips from Silverback Management. We're up here in the Hollywood Hills today. Silverback Management's a multifaceted management company. We handle 7 artists currently: Slightly Stupid, Fishbone, Revolution, The Expendables, The Agro-Lights, Ivan Neville and Dumpster Funk from New Orleans, and The Beautiful Girls from Australia. Yeah, so my beacon moment was getting handed a cassette tape, 1992, by Groovy Greg Abramson in the offices of Gasoline Alley. He said, "You have to check this band out from Long Beach," and he handed me Sublime's 40 Ounce of Freedom cassette, and put it in my tape deck, and like I said, it didn't leave for 2 years. It was the only music that we really listened to after that for a long time. And I have to say, that's my beacon moment, is taking that thing out of the, cover with the sun and the mushroom cloud and all that stuff. And, I had a 93 Ford Ranger with a epic music system, separate sub controls, Rockford Fosgates, boom, threw that thing in there, and, like I said, kept that thing bumping for quite a few years.
Just like you, everything we do the same. Oh, is that true? Girl, I love you, Mary Jane. What would I do for without you?
The success with Sublime was certainly bittersweet. Bradley passed away right at, the point where the record was going to come out, and I feel like that band would have been the next lineage of a Southern California band in the vein of the Beach Boys or the Grateful Dead or the Chili Peppers or, anything like that. Quite frankly, they were like, to me, between the next Beastie Boys and the next Dead, and they were ready to get to that level. And Brad passes away in May of 1996, and the record comes out in August of 1996, and a lot of us didn't get to, including his bandmates and everybody, were still in the mourning stages and didn't get to really relish in the success. It was certainly bittersweet. It was certainly, vindicating, and the fact that the music was so powerful and did make that much of an impact without having the live band around to sort of follow its success. That's the thing with Sublime, is that they're one of the, I think, one anomalies. You can't even think of another one in the music business of a band that got that popular, sold that many millions of records posthumously after their leader was deceased. Because if you look at Hendrix, or you look at Cobain, or you look at any of the artists have become legends like that, they were dead at the same age, at 28, but they had already played, major arenas in Rome and Europe. They had already played, these huge festivals here. Sublime, and we're playing crowds. I saw the Pearl Jam, Nirvana, Chili Peppers, New Year's Eve at the Cow Palace one year, and Pearl Jam hadn't hit yet. Nirvana was like just hitting on Nevermind, and the Chili's were the headliner. And all those bands that, one Sublime's different is they never got to play the Cow Palace for 15,000 people. Brad was gone, and their biggest event up to that point was the Warped Tour, the first year when 1,000 people showed up. So it's definitely unique in that respect. And it was bittersweet, but it was inspirational in terms of actually giving me the wherewithal and perseverance to go on. And one of those links actually had been Bradley's and Miguel from Skunk Records' love for this band out of San Diego that were at the time were 16, 17 years old, and they're called Slightly Stupid. And they had just recorded their first album, which Bradley's on, and they recorded at Sublime's, home studio and whatnot in Long Beach. And after that, The Longest Barrel Ride, which Miguel had recorded for Slightly Stupid in '98, and that was 2 years after Brad had passed. And we definitely saw sort of like this younger generation of talent coming up, and that was the band that Sublime had actually really endorsed early on, and Brad was sort of trying to be a tutor and a mentor to these guys. And we always felt like, hey, this was a band that had something, and they had the amazing influence of actually, Brad and Sublime teaching them how to play some of this reggae music and inspiring them with a lot of the influences. And they are just pure talent, and Slightly Stoopid really at the time became sort of the younger band that could help carry the torch of, you know, the music that was inspired by, you know, Bradley's, you know, influence and Sublime's influence of what they sort of fused together. Brad once said it best. I mean, people are gonna find, you know, spend all night trying to slap a label on this music, but good music's good music, and that should be enough for everybody, you know?